The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
What an embarrassment. What an embarrassing moment for cackling Cam Harris as she prepares to leave the White House. I'm sure she thought she was going to get behind the pulpit and address the members of the cackling choir and receive a celebratory ovation as she admitted defeat. Thank you for your service, Cam. We love you, Cam. We salute you, comrade. There was just one problem, one tiny problem. Those were not members of the cackling choir that Cam was addressing. Those were not deacons at Woke United Methodist patiently waiting for their choir director's signal to begin singing the woke classics. Oh God, give me the reason they rejected Cammy. The people in that crowd, the people in that audience, those were members of Congress. And now, thankfully, they far outnumber the deacons. God willing, the woke fungus has been partially eradicated from our federal government. I wouldn't say that it's been fully eradicated, but it's damn sure been partially eradicated. If you think about it, the standing ovation that Cam received after she admitted defeat, the celebration that we saw after Cam Harris admitted to her huge embarrassing failure in the election, that embarrassing moment, it was a fitting end to her embarrassing term as pretend vice president. Normally, vice presidents, they don't receive too much attention. During his first term, Mike Spence, he was Donald Trump's vice president, and his own family forgot about his existence. My inside sources, they have confirmed that members of his family, they were calling him Judas. Hey there, Uncle Judas, but my name is Michael. It doesn't matter what your name is. Most of the time, the vice president is pretty much ignored by the media. But with cackling Cam Harris, it was different. There were so many embarrassing moments with cackling Cam that she could not be ignored. But now, it's finally over. With Cam Harris and Johnny B. Biden preparing to leave the White House, hell, in the case of Johnny B., he doesn't even have to leave. He has spent more time in his Delaware dungeon in the last 4 years than he has in the Oval Office. I doubt Johnny B. even knows where the Situation Room is. He probably thinks the Situation Room is the show hosted by his fellow aging fossil wolf Blitzer. Woof, woof, woof. With Johnny B and Cammy, pretend VP, preparing to leave the White House, you would think that would be one of the leading stories in the mainstream media. But just like we talked about yesterday afternoon with the Yentas on The View, the leading story yesterday for most media outlets was the remembrance of January 6th. Throughout the day yesterday, it was wall-to-wall coverage of January 6th on CNN. CNN dedicated damn near the entire day to something that happened 4 years ago. By 9 or 10 o'clock last night, Scott Jennings, he had finally had enough. Now, for those that don't know, Scott Jennings is the only common sense thinker at CNN. Poor Scotty. He goes to work every day surrounded by maniacs. Last night, Scott Jennings, he was once again the only normal person on a panel whose collective brain cell count when it comes to logic was less than the number of yards Mina Kimes rushed for in her NFL career. Scott Jennings opened up the segment by trying to congratulate the Democrats for accepting the results of the election. As you guys know, that is extremely rare. For decades, the deacons had disputed election results and blamed it on normal people. Last night, Scotty was trying to congratulate them for finally accepting the fact that they're losers. Scott Jennings could barely get the words out of his mouth before the entire CNN panel had an emotional meltdown. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Zone Grip. If you're anything like me when you're playing golf, one of the biggest frustrations is the slice when you're driving the ball off the tee. Whether it's an immediate slice or a descending slice, it is incredibly frustrating because it destroys your chance at making par. It ruins the rest of your game. Luckily, I have found the perfect solution to eliminate the slicing from your golf game: Zone Grip. Zone Grip is the ultimate training tool that will help you refine the weaknesses in your golf game. Whether it's your driver, your irons, your wedges, Zone Grip is the perfect tool to teach you the fundamentals. Zone Grip is designed to help you achieve the perfect grip and the perfect angles for each swing. It's also designed to help with your backswing by assisting you with the muscle memory and the technique required for an effective swing. Zone Grip was featured in the 2024 PGA Inventor Spotlight. It's also been endorsed by LPGA legend Nancy Taylor. So click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL20, BTL20. Start swinging like a pro and save 20% off your first purchase with Zone Grip. Last night, Scott Jennings was on the panel with Abby Phillip. For those that don't know, and judging by her recent ratings, that would be everyone, Abby Phillip hosts a primetime dump at CNN. Been a while since I have checked into her ratings. Last time I looked into Abby Phillip's ratings, she was averaging 6, maybe 700,000 viewers. Today, she has more letters in her name than she does have people watching her show. And that's even with Abby missing the S in her last name. It's Abby Phillip, not Abby Phillips. Anyway, ratings for her primetime dump, absolutely abysmal. Last week, she averaged 314,000 viewers. I got a handful of people who email me every week complaining about ratings in the NHL. If you think NHL ratings are bad, go look at the ratings at CNN. The fleas on my Yorkie's ass outnumber the viewers at CNN. And my Yorkies, they don't have fleas. Just like CNN doesn't have viewers. I feel bad, though, for Scott Jennings because every night in primetime at CNN, this dude puts on an absolute clinic. He puts on a show. CNN puts these so-called elites against Scott Jennings, and he completely eviscerates them. CNN will match him up with the indoctrinated from the Ivy Leagues, and Scott Jennings, he will calmly speak the truth, causing them to have a complete meltdown on live television. Last night, Scotty, he was congratulating Democrats on a job well done. Like you saw in the clip at the beginning of the video, cackling Cam Harris embarrassed herself one last time by admitting her defeat to the Trumper. Donnie wasn't even in the building, and he received a standing ovation. As Scott Jennings was trying to offer his congratulations, he was rudely interrupted by his good friend Evander Jones. The symptoms of stage 4 OMB, Orange Man bad! The symptoms of OMB were on full display as the rest of the panel tried to shift the conversation to a more appropriate topic. Since yesterday was the anniversary, the rest of the panel, they decided to shift the topic to January 6th. Watch for yourself.
I want to actually congratulate the Democrats today. This is the first election since 1980.
He's doing this again.
This is the first election since 1988
Scott,
that a Republican won, and Democrats did not try to overturn the results on the floor of the Congress. So congratulations, Democrats.
I'm only interrupting you because we've heard this before.
We've
played this.
Well, you've heard the truth before, but I thought it was worth repeating. Not what happened. They tried to stop the counting of the votes.
Taking flagpoles and taking weapons and bursting into the Capitol to try to stop or delay or obstruct the certification of election. That has never happened before.
But this is why
you didn't hold up.
we probably won't be able to move on from January 6th. You're my friend, but I know you're smarter than that. I know that you're smarter than comparing what happened.
The country has already moved on.
No.
It's everybody today that's having a meltdown that hasn't moved on.
Trump keeps bringing it up. We're not having a meltdown.
How in the hell does he do it? How in the hell does Scott Jennings surround himself with lunacy and manage to remain calm? I got a lot of respect for this dude because I could not do that job. I couldn't do it. They just They just can't let it go. The media can't let go of January 6th. As you saw in the clip, a lady named Ashley Allison, who is automatically qualified to collect woke welfare at CNN because she's got 2 first names. Have you guys ever noticed that about the woke welfare collectors at CNN? How most of CNN's collectors have 2 first names? Abby Phillip, Ashley Allison, Andy Cooper, Christy Paul, Chris Wallace, David Gregory. It's very strange. It's very strange. Well, Casey, what about Wolf Blitzer? Yeah, I have no explanation for that name. I guess his father was a big fan of canines and NFL defenses. But anyway, Ashley Allison, she claimed that we will never be able to move on from January 6th. Who is we? What do you mean, we will never be able to move on? I think I speak for most normal people when I say we moved on 4 years ago. You know when normal people moved on from January 6th? January 7th. And it was only fitting that cackling Cam Harris had to admit defeat on the same day that the media can't let go of. You know, this is why people don't watch the media. This is why people don't take the mainstream media seriously. 9/11. It was one of the worst days in the history of this country. I can still remember exactly where I was when I heard about the first plane hitting the World Trade Center. It was my junior year of high school. We were in English class when it happened. But 4 years after 9/11, it was no longer a daily topic of conversation. Now, obviously, we never forgot about it, but eventually, people moved on. We are 4 years out from January the 6th, and everyone has moved on but the media. And they wonder why their ratings are in the pooper. How many of you guys woke up yesterday morning thinking, oh, today is January 6th. I must set aside time today to remember what happened? My guess is none of you. I do this for a living. You know when I realized that yesterday was January 6th? When one of my viewers sent me a clip of the Yentas on The View. Otherwise, it would have never crossed my mind. Over the last 4 years, the media is trying to use what happened that day as an indictment against Donald Trump. They've called him an insurrectionist. They've claimed that he's a threat to democracy. They've claimed that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. We are 2 months from the election, and the media is still failing to realize that that plan didn't work. This is why I said the biggest loser coming out of the election was the mainstream media. It's also why the media won the second annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. You would think, with dwindling influence and ratings, the media would wake the hell up. But I guess they keep listening to Dennis Allen and the media keeps doing what they're doing. Give me your thoughts on this. Scott Jennings tries to congratulate Democrats for finally accepting the results of an election. They could spend decades since they accepted the results like this. They disputed George Bush. They disputed the Trumper in 2016. But Scotty, he couldn't fully congratulate them because the panel at CNN, they wanted to talk about January 6th. Sound off in the comments below. Best way to contact me is through email, btlkc84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys tomorrow.